Okay, so today we're going to talk about the trimming wheel. So once you make a piece, we need to trim the bottom of our work because the bottom of our work is just as important as the rest. And the craftsmanship should be at the same level. So we need to use our giffin grip, which is actually this piece that fits on top of the wheel. And we need to use a trimming tool. Trimming tool shouldn't be buried in here. It should be somewhere else, but that's where it happens to be right now. So we need to make sure that we're plugged in. And I don't leave it plugged in all the time because it makes a lot of racket. And on our giffin grip, we have to make sure that our sliders, which these are considered sliders, are equidistant from the center. So if I rotate this is actually two pieces. If I hold the bottom and I rotate the top piece, you can see that this is not equidistant from the center. This one is a little bit further away. So I can lift it up, I can slide it to the center, kind of check it one more time, and it seems to be equidistant at this point. Now I want to go ahead and I want to trim the pot that I made yesterday. And before I trim, I have to make sure that my rim is firm. If it's not firm and I flip it over and I start to trim, it's going to compress in on it and it's going to go flying off the wheel head and our piece will be ruined. So what I want to do is I want to hold down on the bottom and I want to tighten this up so that it can't wiggle on me. I don't want to tighten it so much that I crack my work, but I want to make sure that this doesn't go flying through the process. Now, this starts off as a kick wheel, and if we kick this counterclockwise, then there's a little gas pedal right below my left foot, and I know you can't see it at home, but it's there. I'm going to step on that, and that gets this pot really moving. I want to trim at a pretty fast speed. Now, I don't have to leave my foot on the pedal. I can lift it away and just step on it later on when I need more speed. Now to trim, I'm going to use both hands. I'm going to use the index finger from both hands. So both hands, the index finger is touching the tool. My left hand is resting on top of the piece. And I'm going to lead with the corner of my tool. I'm going to lead with the corner. It'll look like the flat side is addressing the work, but I'm leading with the corner. I'm going to take clay from the outside of the form first. And what I want to do, I want to look at my work and I want to see the angle that's right here, whatever the piece is, and I want to follow that angle all the way into the base of the work. I'm going to take my needle or my tool again. I'm going to take the point side and I'm going to dig into the work. And I want to address the work at about 4 o'clock, the same area that I would throw. And I'm actually going to turn it back to me a little bit closer to like 6 o'clock so you can see at home. But when you guys trim, I actually want you over here. Taking the needle or the corner of the tool, and I'm turning it into the work. Taking the corner of the tool and turning it into the work. I'm creating all of these ridges. Starting at the base of the work, and I'm working down the form. And once I create all of these ridges and I'm starting to find my shape, then I use the flat side of the tool and smooth them out. So trimming reduces the weight of your piece, and it also makes your piece look a whole lot better. I feel like I can take a little bit more clay out of this. So again, I'm going to create new ridges this time with the corner of my tool. Again, both hands are touching the tool, If I'm just trying to use one hand, it's going to bounce all over the place on me. It's not going to be very effective. So I want both hands on the tool. Create my ridges, use the flat side of the tool, and smooth it out again. My wheel's starting to slow down, so I need to step on the gas. So I trimmed quite a bit of clay out of the outside, but now I need to take some clay out of the bottom. A piece sits better on a ring of clay than it will on a flat surface. Okay. So I want to start with the center. I want, again, use the corner of my tool. Both hands are touching the tool. I want to dig down into the center of the work, and I want to pull a line straight towards me. And I want to stop before I get to the edge because I want to leave that nice ring of clay for my pot to sit on. And again, I led with the corner, and I created all these little ridges in here, which I don't really like, but it's the best way to trim. And then I'm going to take the flat side of my tool. I'm going to smooth it all out. Now before you trim, and I know I only have, I think, one student that made a piece. Before you trim, I want you to have me check your work or have one of the AP kids check your work to make sure it's ready. Because in the beginning, you're not going to know right away. So on the bottom of my piece, I don't like to leave any rough edges. So after I've trimmed, usually I'll take my finger and I'll just kind of smooth it out a little bit to get rid of any rough edges. And if you're trimming and this starts to wobble here in the middle, that means it's getting thin and you should stop. Now the last thing we want to do on our work is trim a line on the outside. Trim a little bit of a foot into the piece. That way, well, first of all, it looks better, but if the glaze runs, it'll give the glaze a little channel to fall into before it runs down over the edge of your piece. So I'm going to take the corner of my tool and I'm going to turn it into the work and create a little notch. And they call this putting a foot on your piece. I'll take the flat side and I'll get rid of part of that notch, but I'm still going to leave a little bit of an indentation. And the last thing we do is sign the bottom. Now, you can put your initials, you can put your full name, you can put a symbol, you can do whatever you want on the bottom as long as you're consistent, because everybody will be able to make the same shapes over a given time. So the only thing that really separates your work from somebody else's, at this point anyway, is going to be a signature. So you can use a pencil, you can use a needle tool. I like to use this drawer right by the trimming tool that appears to be empty right now. Has these posts in it. Okay, they look like this. I like to take the post and sign my name with those posts because it's a nice clean signature. Sometimes a pencil or a needle tool will leave a bunch of rough edges behind. This is a little bit cleaner.